The air in the first-class cabin of Cosmic Air Flight 711 grew heavy with tension. A sharp, echoing slap cut through the quiet hum, silencing the polite chatter. Passengers watched in a hushed, horrified fascination as a flight attendant's hand landed across the face of a passenger, a dark-skinned woman. The attendant, Felicity Vance, sneered, her voice dripping with disdain as she insisted the woman didn't belong in the front row. A wave of nervous whispers rippled through the cabin, accompanied by the cold click of phone cameras. People murmured about fake tickets and impossible wealth, their faces twisted with a mix of mockery and self-satisfaction. But the woman in question was no ordinary traveler. She was Aurora Stone, the formidable CEO of Ether Corp, and the coming minutes would cost them everything. Boarding for Flight 711 was complete. The first-class cabin buzzed with the gentle rustle of business suits and the clinking of crystal glasses filled with sparkling wine. Amidst it all, Aurora sat composed and elegant, an olive-green silk scarf draped over her simple black dress. She was a silent, unassuming presence until Felicity approached, her gaze sharp and suspicious. "Excuse me, ma'am," Felicity began, her tone dismissive. "May I see your boarding pass one more time?" Aurora calmly handed it over. Felicity scanned the ticket, a sneer playing on her lips. "Row 1, first class," she said, her voice laced with disbelief. "Are you absolutely certain there's no mistake?" A man in the row behind them snickered. "Maybe she got lost on her way to economy," he whispered to his companion. Aurora remained silent, her composure seeming to unnerve Felicity even more. Felicity leaned in, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "We've had issues with counterfeit tickets. Where did you get this?" Aurora's eyes met hers, unwavering. "I booked it directly through Ether's corporate travel system." Felicity smirked and turned to the other passengers. "I'll need to verify this," she announced, her tone implying a dramatic reveal. The whispers intensified. A woman with an expensive pearl necklace scoffed. "No way she belongs here." Another man chimed in. "People like her don't fly up front." Felicity returned, her frustration evident. She slapped the boarding pass against Aurora's shoulder. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave the plane now." Aurora didn't move. She sat perfectly still, radiating a quiet strength. Felicity's frustration erupted. "Don't make this more difficult than it has to be." Then, in a moment that caused a collective gasp, Felicity raised her hand and struck Aurora across the face. A shocked silence fell over the cabin, broken only by the click of phones. The slap echoed, reverberating through every row. Aurora's scarf slipped to the floor. "You think money buys everything?" Felicity hissed. "It doesn't buy respect." Aurora slowly bent down, picked up her scarf, and meticulously folded it before placing it back on her lap. "Respect," she replied, her voice calm and steady, "is earned." Nervous laughter and excited whispers filled the cabin. A man in a tailored suit whispered, "This is going to be everywhere." Within minutes, the lead ground manager, Marcus Lane, boarded the plane. "Ma'am," he said, his voice firm and rehearsed, "if you don't comply, we will be forced to remove you." "On what grounds?" Aurora asked, her gaze fixed on him. "Fraudulent boarding, misrepresentation," he replied, his words carrying the confidence of someone certain of victory. Aurora simply glanced at her watch. "Give it 5 minutes." A ripple of confusion spread through the cabin. 5 minutes? For what? Felicity crossed her arms, a smug expression on her face. "You're wasting everyone's time." Passengers began to jeer. "Just get her off already," one shouted. Another mocked, "Security should drag her off like they do in those videos." The atmosphere grew thick with humiliation, but Aurora remained unbothered, her posture unwavering. She simply waited. Exactly 5 minutes later, her phone vibrated. She picked it up, rose with a slow, graceful motion, and placed the device on her tray table. The screen displayed an incoming call, Ether Corp headquarters. The logo glowed brightly for everyone to see. Marcus's confident expression wavered. "What is this?" Aurora pressed accept and put the call on speaker. A voice boomed from the phone. "Madam CEO, the board has been informed of the incident. Do you require immediate intervention?" The cabin froze. Passengers stared, their mouths agape. Felicity's face went pale. Marcus stumbled back. CEO? Someone stammered. She's the CEO? Aurora stood tall, her scarf draped over her shoulders like a banner of triumph. Yes, my name is Aurora Stone. I own this airline. And every insult, every slap, every recorded moment of humiliation was against me. Phones went wild. Twitter and other platforms exploded with new hashtags. Hashtag CO slapped, hashtag EtherTruth, hashtag PowerVersal. Marcus stammered, "Ma'am, I didn't." "You did." Aurora cut in, her voice firm. "And so did Felicity. Both of you are finished." Felicity tried to laugh it off. "This can't be real." But a passenger, holding up his phone, shouted, "It's true. She's on LinkedIn." Aurora Stone, CEO of EtherCorp. Felicity's legs buckled. Aurora lifted her phone again. "Terminate their access." Immediately. Seconds later, Marcus's company-issued badge blinked red. Felicity's tablet went dark. Security clearance revoked in real time. The cabin erupted in a mix of shock and awe. "You'll regret this," Marcus yelled, his voice cracking with rage. Aurora turned, her expression as serene as ever. "No, Mr. Lane, you'll regret believing that arrogance was stronger than truth." By the time the plane landed, the story had gone global. Videos flooded every platform, and the image of Aurora standing tall in first class became an icon of dignity. The fallout was swift. Felicity and Marcus were terminated, and the airline issued a public apology, but their stock prices dipped by billions overnight. Regulators announced immediate audits across the industry, but Aurora was not finished. Days later, at a press conference, she stood at a podium surrounded by reporters. "Humiliation doesn't wound me," she said, her voice clear and strong. "It exposes the truth. If this could happen to me, imagine how many others suffer in silence." She announced sweeping reforms, mandatory diversity training, anonymous reporting lines, and body cameras for all attendants during disputes. No more unchecked arrogance at 30,000 feet. Her calm dignity in the face of such a public ordeal became a blueprint for resistance. 3 months later, EtherCorp rebounded, stronger than ever. Complaints plummeted, employee culture shifted, and Aurora Stone was celebrated not just as a CEO, but as a leader who had turned her pain into power. On her next flight, she entered first class without announcement. Passengers whispered and cameras hovered, but no one dared challenge her seat. She simply looked out the window, her scarf resting on her lap, as the plane ascended above the clouds. The same sky that had once witnessed her humiliation now carried her triumph. If this story resonates with you, don't just watch. Become part of this movement. Every time you like, share, and comment, you amplify voices that have been silenced for too long. Tell us where you're watching from and what moment hit you the hardest. We want to hear your truth. And if you believe in these bold stories of dignity, justice, and power reversals, don't stop at subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss a single story that can change minds.